that good like that? Right there?
Perfect.
Bet.
Alright.
Push that, you
Let
ready?
me double check IG real quick. And then, Antonio, you can keep the IG one up. That way at least I can see, what the fuck? Hold up. Bless.
Thank you.
Just doing a quick camera check here. Got one too.
Hey Siri.
Get yourself in. Oh, I'm gonna switch that one.
Hey Siri, go beat him.
Big.
What's the did it with that?
I'll be mad. Low key.
JP.
See her? What's up, Jeff? Yeah, so the whole Twitch thing, everybody, I don't know what the fuck's up with it. Apparently, it only records. It's not live though. It records it, like it's recording right now, but it's not live. I don't know, it's kind of dumb. It's kind of dumb the way they set that up. It should be live still because it says you're live, you know? But, fuck yeah, I'm not the person that runs Twitch, you know? It's lit. We got the beer bong. No, beer bong. Beer bong.
Beer pong too.
Beer pong. God dang. You sound down, Antonio.
I always thought that. So it's all good.
Where's the trash can?
Oh man. What?
Dude, get the fuck out of it.
We'll be able to start in 2 minutes. 30 seconds actually.
30 seconds.
We're late by 40 minutes.
We are, but it's fine. As long as we get it done, right, that's the big thing. Realistically.
Matty Ice. The GOAT. Oh man, this is my take on this topic is gonna be very fucking dumb. Cause it's just like, how can you do that as a Falcons fan? But it's okay. I know what I want. I know what I know.
Dope. We're recording on both ends. We are set to go, and Antonio, as soon as you are ready, kick us off.
What's up, bro?
I'm just more in the middle, so I'm not like biased towards him.
Just in, so just dead ass middle.
Yeah.
You can be biased towards him. He needs the help. It's okay.
No, I need that.
It's not like I'm much help though, so.
He needs the help.
You gotta be like Joy Taylor, alright?
Oh.
You gotta praise the heat.
Just flex the titties out. And shout out to Joy. Joy looking good.
Alright, so are you gonna have that in the? Do I begin? Because you didn't put
It's
it
as
in
soon
last
as
time.
as soon as you start, that's when that's like my cue. When I go to edit and I pull, I go from there.
Alright, good morning everybody. We are back, second week. We have Hard Foul to my left and we have the Feud on the right. We're going to be talking about some interesting topics today. Hope you guys enjoy. So let's kick it off with the first question. After all of the trades and new acquisitions by teams in the NFC, who are the real contenders to make it out of the NFC?
I'll let him go first. I'll let him go first this time since I started it off last week.
So to preface this, I just want to ask. This is the same guy who said the Browns won the offseason last week, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yes,
Okay,
it
so
is.
I want to make sure that we have context before I go into this. That you had said the Browns had the best offseason. And I'm pretty sure you said
the Browns had the
and I'm pretty sure you said the Browns had the best offseason by far. Like it wasn't just
by
like
far. It's
they
by
were
far.
okay. No, they had the best offseason by far, which I think was hilarious because you made that comment and Joe Thomas literally retired later that day. So clearly there are some forces in the world that are working here, right? Okay. I have three teams that I think improve themselves the most. One will not be competitive so this year. The other two, I can make a case, are the one or two best teams in the NFC. Right?
Okay.
I can really make a case for. I'm not counting Philadelphia because I think Philadelphia got more big names and they got actual value and production they're going to get next year. I like Michael Bennett. I like Lodinata, but they're older players. I think it looks nice name-wise. I don't think it translates to a lot. I think the same thing with the Packers getting Jimmy Graham. I think it's a nice name. I don't think it equates to much. With that being said, the Rams, as I said, last year, with both those corners, improving their defense, returning offense, the Rams are 1A, 1B, the best team in the NFC. Along with the Minnesota Vikings, who lost no one, do you realize how great it is? Most teams, do you realize the Vikings have had 4 compatible quarterbacks the last year and a half now? The Browns haven't had that. The team you said won the offseason by far.
We're not talking
in the
about
past 50
We're
years.
not
No, I just
talking
want to clarify and let
Browns
everybody
are in the
know.
AFC.
I just want to let everybody know that you did say this. I'm going to reiterate.
Oh, we all know.
Multiple
We all know.
times
I
you said the
fucking
Browns had the offseason. So the Vikings have now, and not only have they had 4 compatible quarterbacks, they've gotten better from like everyone they've switched to. Like Bridgewater played well. Bradford came in and played a little bit better. Keenum came in and played a little bit better. And now Kirk Cousins, who I think most people, maybe outside of his first year or two in the league, I would have said Bridgewater over Cousins because I think Bridgewater is a good quarterback. He's really accurate, not super strong arm. But they now have franchise quarterback, which they got even for not as much money as I'd prefer them to get. Only got it for 3. It is, but it's only 3 years. So you're not you're not forever married to Kirk Cousins. You're bringing back a top 5 defense. You're bringing back 2 great young wide receivers. You're bringing back a really good tight end, Kyle Rudolph. You have a good offensive line. You're getting Dalvin Cook back, which is basically like an off-season move.
He was a stud when he was playing before he tore his ACL.
The Vikings and Rams clear head and shoulders above everybody in terms of they went from being really good to they're going to be really great. My other team that I don't think a lot of people are going to look at, and I kind of talked about this yesterday on my radio show, the Chicago Bears bringing in an offensive coordinator, brought in 2 new receivers, Taylor Gabriel they brought in Allen Robinson from Jacksonville, got the tight end Trey Burton. They're doing a lot of things that's very Philly-esque from what Philly did last year. Now I think the big difference is when Philly did it in a division where the Cowboys took a step back, the Redskins took a step back, the Giants were competing for the number 1 pick for the majority of the year. I think it's very similar to what the Rams did the year prior, where they brought in new offensive weapons for Jared Goff, got him an offensive coordinator, and the Rams stepped up. Once again, the Seahawks took a step back, 49ers are competing for the number 1 pick, and the Cardinals took a step back.
Wait, so hold on. You think the Bears are making the playoffs?
No, and this is why. But I think the Bears had the best offseason for a non-playoff team because in their division, Aaron Rodgers comes back with Green Bay. Matthew Stafford is still the second best quarterback in that division.
Yeah.
And you have the Vikings, which are arguably the best team in the entire conference. It's one of the reasons why I don't think the Bears make the playoffs. Otherwise, the Bears would be my third. I believe I think the Rams had a better offseason, but I think the Vikings are just a little bit better than everybody from what they were to what they are going to be.
Yeah. So, I don't disagree with you, except for on the Rams. I think the Rams are the 3rd best team in the conference for now. I'm going to say this on the record. For now, they're not going to be the best team. Right now, I think the 2 best teams, I think it's a tie for me, are the Saints and the Vikings. The Saints are getting younger on defense. And then if you take a look at it, I mean, like everything you brought up, Minnesota was number 1 in defense last year, 15.8 a game. They didn't lose anybody. They still have one of the best defenses in the league. And then Kirk Cousins, I mean, I think he's one of the most underrated quarterbacks in the league. You see who the guy have at receiver? Like he's had Terrell Pryor who had 1 good year.
I mean, 2 years ago he had Deshaun Jackson, and he had 2,000 receivers. He had Deshaun Jackson, Pierre Garçon. He also had
that were at the end of their prime.
That's fine. He still put up 5,000 yards. So both those guys put up 1,000+ yards. Plus, who was the tight end they had? Jordan Reed.
But he can't stay on the field. He's a walking concussion.
That's fine. This year, the 2 years prior, Jordan Reed, Deshaun Jackson, Pierre Garçon is one of the elite receiving corps. But continue your point.
Absolutely not. But absolutely not. But the edge that I give to, because of experience, is Drew Brees. And that offense, because if Alvin Kamara and Mark Ingram can feed off each other like they did last year, they both combined, I don't know, I think I saw it was almost 4,000 yards between both of them receiving and rushing the ball.
They put in work last year.
If they can do that again and duplicate that, we've never seen that in NFL history. And then with Drew Brees, who threw for a record, was like a 73% completion record, something like that this year, broke a record.
Drew Brees gets it in.
Drew Brees, I mean, threw 23 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. The man is freaking, 39 years old, about to be 40, like Brady, and he's still playing as the top 5 quarterback in the league. And I think if they can continue the trend of what they had last year of winning 11 games, I think they can honestly win more because Lattimore, because I know he's your homie. I think
he's okay.
Yeah, he's gonna be one of the best corners in the league. You have Cameron Jordan, one of the best defensive ends in the league. I think that defense is just gonna get better and better over time. Rather, I don't think the Vikings yet have the edge over the Saints because I don't know how they're gonna do in the playoffs with Kirk Cousins. We still don't know what's going to happen with Cousins. He could be trash for all we know in the Vikings. I don't think so. But you don't know, because he hasn't played in the Vikings uniform yet. He hasn't played in Indianapolis. We do not know how he's going to do. He did all right on the Redskins. But we'll see. I don't know. It just all remains to be seen for me, but I'm giving the edge to the Saints. I think they're going to be the ones making out the NFC this year. Coming from a Falcons fan. That hurts me to say it, but I think the Saints.
So, if I may rebuttal to the point
Go for
here.
it.
So, you say New Orleans has an advantage over Minnesota?
Their
right?
offense.
I'm talking about teams. So you think does New Orleans have an advantage too much over Minnesota?
Their offense, yeah.
I'm talking about team. Whole
Yes.
team. You got to go the whole team. Is New Orleans? I'm asking you, is New Orleans better than Minnesota right now?
Yes.
Okay, so who won last time they played?
We all know.
Don't
even do that. That was on the
I
rookie.
just want to say, who won last time they played?
The Vikings.
Because-
On a prayer.
so,
Nobody's ever
thank
seen
you
it
very much.
before.
And so, what is something that is shown with Kirk Cousins going to Minnesota trajects literally only upward? Because what have you ever seen from a guy who's going from Washington, which is shitty weather, muddy field, not perfect conditions, and now you're throwing him in a dome for 8+ games that he's going to be playing in Minnesota? Plus, he's got another game that he's going to get against Detroit. So you're giving him 9, plus however the schedule flexes out. If he plays the Falcons, there's another dome game. If he gets to play, who else plays in the dome in the NFC? There's one more team I can't think of right now.
This is the Saints.
The Saints playing in a dome, so that's 9 to 10 games that he's gonna. And if they end up getting a schedule, they probably won't play Houston. But if they were to play a team from the AFC that played in a dome, that's 10+ games. You're gonna get Kirk Cousins in a dome. So we're already projecting. If you're talking about a favorable situation and improving what you already were, he's only gonna get better. Plus Adam Thielen, Kyle Rudolph. And Stephon Diggs. There you go. I always forget Stephon Diggs. No offense, Stephon Diggs. I just always forget him. You're giving him a better receiving core. He's playing in a dome.
Thank you.
He's getting a better running game.
I understand that.
It makes.
Okay.
And then you get just the Saints, which is they had a breakout. Everyone has a top point, right? Everyone plays the best they possibly can at one point in time.
Yeah.
The Saints had breakout years from 2 rookies, like the league hasn't seen in decades. They had Mark Ingram bounce back, have another breakout season. Drew Brees, there is no, besides Tom Brady, there is no blueprint that 39, 40-year-old quarterbacks play well. And I like Drew Brees. I think he can play well. But it's when you're that age, it is show me or you will show me one way or the other.
Yeah.
Because Manning played great until he was 39 and he dropped off a cliff. Favre won the MVP. Favre and Manning won the MVP and then the next year and came back and played like hot trash. So, Drew Brees, until you can show me you can do it, I'm not a believer.
To go back to your whole dome stadium point, where did you come up with that?
Where did I come up with that?
Yeah, does he play better in domes? Like, I'm asking you, does he play better?
I'm talking about you want a favorable situation. It is far more of a favorable place to play when you have controlled situations compared to if you are playing in a place like Washington in December, you're playing like a place in New York like December, and here, and you can bring up the stats, and why the stats don't matter for this argument is who are you playing in the dome? There's a big difference if you are playing, the greatest show on turf, Rams, scored 40 points a game inside their dome. Not everybody could score 40 a game in their dome.
No.
The Vikings scored almost 35, 36 points a game in 98 in their dome. Not everyone could score in their dome that much. So it's who are you playing, not just the stats you have going against other teams.
Okay. Well, no, that remains to be seen. I still think the Saints, by far. I'm not by far. I think it's the only edge I give to the Vikings over the Saints is defense. But I think the offense is that much better than the Vikings offense that's what just gives the edge for me. Because I think the Saints, if Mark Ingram and Kamara, nobody can touch that backfield.
The Saints were a running football team last year.
Which is the first time that's happened, since like 2011, something like that?
They're historically better when they can run the ball comparatively to when it's just Drew Brees.
All right, so we will see this upcoming year. Looks right. So we got the Vikings right here, and we got the Saints over here.
It hurts me to say it because
got it on record. All right, moving on to question number 2.
He said all right. Check my file. Check my file.
The Jets recently just traded up the number 3 overall pick in the draft. How does this affect the Jets and the teams ahead of them in the draft? Will other moves be made to get in front of the Jets?
Okay.
And you just did a mock draft, huh?
So, I mean, how I think it affects other teams in front of them, there could be other teams that are like the Giants that maybe want a quarterback that are going to be like, hey, Browns, I'll offer you my picks and some more picks this year and next year. And then try to snag the number 1 pick, and then the Browns, because right now the Browns are in a situation because of this trade. They're like, shit, I have to take a quarterback now. Like I can't sit here and just fuck around and not get Sam Darnold, Josh Rosen, Josh Allen.
I like that way of thinking. I've heard that way before.
You've heard it that way?
I've heard someone say something similar to that.
Yeah, I know. I was influenced. I know. I watched it last night, but it makes perfect sense if you think about it. You wanna know why? Because
I said it.
What?
I said it.
Oh, I didn't hear it from you.
Oh,
I heard it from someone else.
Shit, I heard it from
my boy Shay Sharp.
I heard it from you. Shannon heard it from me. Shannon, stop giving away my shit.
If you think, doesn't it make perfect sense?
Yeah.
Because why the hell? Because now they can still probably get Saquon number 4, maybe, possibly, depending on whoever else the Jets take. I mean, obviously the Jets are gonna probably take Rosen or Allen if they're still on the board. Darnold, I think, is gonna be taken by the Browns, but I just don't like it because necessarily another team, like I said, the Giants could just come up and just be like, hey, fuck you, I want to be the best team in New York. And just trade up to go get their pick. And either from the Browns or, I forget who had the 2nd round pick.
Giants got the 2nd pick.
Oh, Giants got the 2nd?
Yeah.
Okay, then the Giants, I mean, they can honestly just fuck them over, you know? That's just, I don't have much to say on that besides, it puts a lot more pressure on the Browns than anybody would have thought. And I think it's kind of stupid. They moved from the fucking 3rd to the 6th, and they gave up so much for it. And they didn't, I mean, all they got back was that 3rd pick. So they better hope that they get a quarterback that is their franchise quarterback this year, or they're going to be fucked. Hopefully it's not another Geno Smith or anything like that, you know?
So, and I'm going to reiterate a point that I already said when I did my mock draft, is when I did my first one, and this is before the trade happened, I had the Browns trading away their pick. And I probably dramatized a little bit more, and I had the Bills trading up to the pick because I thought it made more sense. If there was gonna be a team that was gonna overhaul and trade up, it made sense for the Bills. You got a lot of good players on defense right now. You're relatively young. You just got rid of Tyrod Taylor. You've got assets. If you want to blow up one draft to get your guy, this is one of the few times it is okay for you to do so. Like, you've got the pieces in place. Now, I got the wrong AFC East team. The Jets apparently heard what I was saying, and they were like, fuck you, we'll take that idea, and we'll run with it. So, everybody's listening. Shannon's stealing my ideas. The Jets is stealing my ideas. Y'all need to start paying me copyright.
Shout out to Shannon Sharp.
With that being said, what it does now is when in my scenario, the Browns didn't have to worry about their guy not being there at 4. The Giants did not have to. The Giants could have sat there and been like, okay, we'll run another year or 2 with Eli. We can get Barkley. We just got Soldier at offensive line. We can make this work for another year or 2.
The Giants had the worst offensive line in the league.
That's fine. No, that's what I'm saying. They're improving. That's why they brought in Soldier. They're gonna probably draft another guy. So they're like, okay, we can try to scrap this together. We got Eli for another year or 2. Now what it does is, I think for the first time ever, you know how many times I just spoiled my own little thing. You know how many times there's been 3 quarterbacks drafted number 1, 2, and 3 overall?
Not many. I don't know. Not from my recollection.
Never.
Never.
You know what's about to happen this year?
That's about to happen.
Because now the Browns can't trade out of that first pick because they're not going to get a guy. Because they want Darnold or Rosen. I don't really think the Browns want Josh Allen. That's not their project quarterback. I don't think that's in their... If they don't want him at 1 is my big thing. And now with the Jets being there, I don't think he makes it to 4. And I really don't think the Browns want Baker Mayfield.
I want
the Browns. The Browns now are forced to take Darnold 1. The Giants look at this and go, okay, well, next year's quarterback class isn't nowhere near as good as this. We're probably going to be 2 or 3 years out before we get another quarterback. So now we kind of got to take Josh Rosen. Okay, now you're the Jets. Well, who's next up on our list? The reason why I say the Giants, Browns, and Jets really don't want Baker Mayfield, and I know there's reports coming out of this pro day that he had better arm strength than people thought, but you still don't want 5'10", 5'11" in cold New York or cold Cleveland in December.
Yeah.
So Josh Allen simply makes more sense. He's 6'5", 6'6", big dude, best arm in the class by far. Yes, is he a project? That's fine. If you're the Jets, you've got, the Jets just ran this same play about 7 years with Mark Sanchez, and Josh Allen rates out physically be a better quarterback than Mark Sanchez.
Yeah, Mark Sanchez, right?
So the Jets now take him. Now the Browns at that pick. I think it's a toss up. I could go Fitzpatrick or Chubb. I personally haven't taken Fitzpatrick. I think when you are that kind of franchise and you've had so many busts, I think you take the guy who I think has the least bust possibility. Mm-hmm. Plus, they just got Jabril Peppers from Michigan last year, so putting both of those guys at safety gives you a formidable back end, which you're going to need for Cleveland because the front seven's trash.
Yeah.
So
they need a good defensive backcourt right now just to help out.
And I like I forget Myles Garrett, who they got number 1 last year. So you get your quarterback, you get your safety. And now it comes for Denver, and I don't necessarily like the pick. I just think it's going to happen, is you now get Mayfield going to Denver at 5.
I like that pick. I love Baker Mayfield. I think he's the best quarterback in the draft. But
I don't. But what it really affects, and it's the thing that's just going to blow people's mind, is the guy who I believe is the most affected by this is Lamar Jackson, who in a lot of mock drafts people had going at the end of the first round to a team like the Saints because Drew Brees is up there in age, Ben Roethlisberger because he's up there in age with the Steelers. Now, I don't think Lamar Jackson gets past 12. Because if you're the Bills, what are you doing? If you're the Dolphins, what are you doing?
You need a quarterback.
You need a quarterback. You've got good defensive personnel. I understand the Dolphins have Tannehill. He's injury prone.
He's trash.
He makes a lot more money than he should at the moment, so it's there. I think the Dolphins are less likely to go after Lamar Jackson, but I think they're still very much in play. You get a team like the Bills, like I said, you've got your defensive personnel, you have your assets. You almost have to kind of take the sucker's punch chance and get Lamar Jackson, which no one would have said at the start of this year he was going top 15. And now he's got very much a chance to go top 12 because the Jets trade pushes the Bills out of the top 5. Because no one wants to lose out on this quarterback class. Because next year, and really realistically even the year after, does not look strong.
Do you think the Bills are really going to... Do you think they would draft Lamar Jackson? Because, they just got McCarron, right? I like McCarron. I liked him coming out of college. I just don't think anybody gave him a chance.
So here's my thing with AJ McCarron. This is between AJ McCarron and Lamar Jackson, right? So, let's say you move out, right? Yeah. And, you might buy yourself some styrofoam cups to get you through the first couple days, right? You're not sticking with styrofoam cups. You eventually got to get you some glasses, some real dishes, some silverware. You can't rock plastic spoons and forks your whole life.
Well, I'm not saying A. McCarron's better, but I'm just saying
I'm saying AJ McCarron is some plastic spoons and forks. I'm saying Lamar Jackson is real silverware.
Okay. I mean, that's fair to say. That's fair enough for you, bro. That's fair enough.
Call that man a fork.
You just compared him to plastic fucking fork and spoon.
Fuck AJ McCarron.
All right, moving on to question number 3. Correct me if I'm wrong. Will Coach Lou?
Tyronn Lue.
Will Coach Lue's absence hurt the Cavaliers, or will it be the same on the Cavaliers? Do you think Coach Lue will be able to come back from this and help lead the Cavaliers? Justin?
So let me start by saying this. I don't wish ill on any person. If he is having true, serious medical injuries, which it looks like, I pray for a fast recovery, and I hope everything is well. Obviously, there's been coaches that have taken leaves of absences before for health reasons, for personal reasons.
Yeah, Steve Kerr.
Steve Kerr had to do it. Monty Williams had to do it last year with this situation with his wife. So for his personal reasons and that, I'm not attacking the man on anything related to that. Hope everything turns out well. Him as a coach, and this isn't really a discredit to him, I don't think it matters, but I'm of the mindset, I think there's only 3 coaches in the NBA that matter. I think there is 3 guys who I'm like, okay, they're definitively so far better than everybody else. Everyone else is just kind of running in spots, taking places, don't do a whole lot. There is 3 spectaculars. There's Popovich, who's at the top, who's the greatest coach of all time. I think Brad Stevens is number 2, and I have Rick Carlisle at number 3. I just sit there and kill me for it. I like Steve Kerr. I don't think Steve Kerr makes that much of a difference because something just blows my mind when I'm just like, and I get he's got a great team and there's a part of managing those personalities. Yeah. But when I can literally take my book or my little play sheet and just be like, hey, y'all run it. I'm just gonna sit over here. Y'all draw up plays. Which I want to say that situation also got kind of blown out of proportion.
Yeah, it wasn't that big of a deal. Like I don't understand.
It was, but it was funny to me because everyone was like, "Well, how can you let the players coach?" And I'm like, "No, he specifically let Draymond, Durant, and JaVale McGee didn't get to touch that clipboard.
No.
Nick Young didn't get to touch that clipboard. So he was very specific in who he allowed to coach. But when you have that kind of situation, to me, just there's 27 coaches that just don't matter that much. So Tyronn Lue, hope you get better. Hope you come back. Hope all is well. I don't think it makes that much of a difference. No. They're going as far as LeBron can will them to go, which I think is far different than most people think. And yeah.
I mean, I'm in the same mindset as you. I mean, I don't wish ill on him. I mean, I hope he gets better soon. Hope he comes back to the team. I mean, I don't think they really need him because LeBron's the coach. We all know that. This may be a little bit fucked up, but after their little altercation on the sideline, Ty Lue says he has chest pains and stuff. It's just, I mean, I hope it has nothing to do with LeBron and then their little argument. I don't know. That's just me trying to be funny. Yeah, but
LeBron be giving coaches like, I'm giving
especially Ty Lue. Ty Lue's not the coach on that team. It's LeBron. We all know that. So honestly, I just hope he comes back. He comes back healthy within the right mindset. Because I feel like if he's not in the right mindset though, he's gonna affect some of the other players, maybe not LeBron and K-Love, but like Jordan Clarksons, Larry Nance's. Because I feel like they look up to LeBron and Ty Lue in a way. Because I feel like Ty Lue's like a father figure to them, more or less than a coach. I don't know if you get the same vibe from me. That he's not more or less sitting there screaming at his players like maybe Popovich is, which is what you need in a coach. He is more or less there like coddling them, making sure that they're all right and that they're doing what they need to do to succeed. I don't know if you get the same vibe, but I get more of a vibe of a father figure than more of a coach. I don't know with you.
I'm about to sound real fucked up on camera. This is all 17 years in the making from when AI dropped him in the finals. But that's the last thing I got on that.
Oh man.
Hey, they gonna fire me.
Oh man.
Oh shit. But like I said, I wish him well. I don't, and it's not even a disrespect to him. I don't think Steve Kerr matters. I don't think Doc Rivers matters. There's a bunch of high-profile coaches. I don't even think, and as asinine as it says, I don't think Mike D'Antoni matters. I think if the way that and I get there's a system to the whole 7-second or less offense. At this point, they give the ball to James, and if he doesn't find someone in the first 2 seconds, he just chucks it for 3. Yeah. If someone's on the wing, cool, kick it out. Or they just give it, or Chris Paul brings it up and it's 3, and Chris Paul's a little more patient, he waits until 3 seconds, and if he can't find anybody, fuck it, he just shoots.
They're gonna shoot a mid-range though on his team. You're getting fucking bad.
Oh yeah, no, it's
3 or nothing, 3 or inside the paint, that's it.
Yeah, so it's I don't think even as someone who is given as much credit to his team's statistical success and philosophy in the way they play, I don't even think he matters. Because I think, and especially when you get to this point, you've got veterans on your team, they know what they're doing.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, yeah, that's the first topic we've actually agreed on.
So we both of you agree?
Both of us agree. I'll take the dub, though.
Alright.
Sorry, Tevin, I didn't mean to make that AI joke. I just couldn't resist.
Alright, number 4. Opinions on the officiating in the NBA. What do you think of the Alvin Gentry and Van Gundy?
Yeah.
Van Gundy's comments on the officiating in the NBA. Do you agree or disagree with the heated statements by the 2 coaches?
They're absolutely fucking trash. I'm just gonna get that on the table. The NBA refs, they need to be all fired. We need to get a new wave of NBA refs in here this year. Because when I was watching that game against it was just fucking Anthony Davis was dragged down by James Harden. And I mean, Anthony Davis, I applaud him on that. He's not going to sit there and bitch like the fucking James Hardens of the world, the Kevin Durant's of the world where he's going to be getting a technical foul. It's
He
just
got teed up the other day.
he did. I understand. He has also been ejected. That's the Boogie Cousins effect.
Nah, Boogie Cousins was ready to fight Durant after a game. You can't compare what Boogie Cousins does to Durant to Davis.
But it's just when you pull a guy to the fucking ground, like it was clear. Like even like they pulled the guy to the damn ground, and yet that's not a foul. But you can throw your fucking body into somebody while you're shooting, and you can get that 3-point take 3 free throws at the line if it's behind the 3-point line. You can just throw your fucking body into people. But if you're just standing there like this and you're getting pushed to the ground, that's not a foul. I find that to be bullshit. I mean, there may be a little biased because Anthony Davis is my favorite player and he's fucking fragile. I don't want to see him fall like that. But when James Harden is literally grabbing him up like that, and then Anthony Davis is falling to the ground, which was a pivotal moment in that game, there's nothing called. I don't think. And then to hit on Alvin Gentry, the guy fucking snapped. I mean, he was ready. He probably already had that check signed for $15K on the officiating. I mean, but he was sitting there because Anthony Davis and other players in the league do not get calls. And LeBron James is another one. They do not get to the free throw line as much as fucking the James Hardens of the world, because James Harden, if you take the 3, if like even contested, he's throwing his body into the fucking way of the defender. Like, you can't defend in the league anymore. I think it caters to the shooter. Because now it's a 3-point league. Because now you're sitting there as a defender. You're sitting up there like this. And so then the James Harden just comes up and, well, I'm just going to shoot. I'm just going to throw my body into him. And I'm going to get that call 99% of the time. There's a few times you're not going to get that call. But I feel like if you're driving to the paint all the time and you're getting that contact, just because if it's a point guard on it's like it's Anthony Davis, like it's Curry on, like a Harden on Davis, and Davis is driving on him, and Harden fouls him, just because Davis is 6'10", 7-footer, and James Harden is what, 6'5", something like that. I'm not too keen on this side. Just because he's a smaller dude doesn't mean you don't call a foul. If it's a foul, it's a foul. That's how it should be. But I'll give it over to you. I'll rebuttal to it if anything else you have to say. But I think the NBA officiating is god awful.
So I want to add some context to the situation. How tall are you, really quick?
I'm 6 foot.
Yeah, how tall are you?
5'8".
Okay. So I want everyone to understand as I'm saying this. We played pickup basketball games before, right? Now I'm 6'8", right? Okay. So I get the ball. Usually the guy guarding me is not as big. Do you know what happens to me when I play pickup basketball? Do you know what like these two specifically have done to me playing pickup basketball? Okay, that's not me. No, wait a minute. Do you know what these two have done playing pickup basketball? I mean, I have been scratched, clawed, arm pulled down,
he's the one that jumps on
punched, kicked. I mean, fools grabbed my car keys and slapped me with them. Like, so let me make this really clear. I want to just add the context because I think it's hilarious that, and it's not a officiating problem with everybody. It's an officiating problem with anyone who's bigger. And this is why
Shaq, baby.
This is why Shaq went through this, Cousins goes through this, KG went through this, Duncan went through this, and many very big men now went through this, right? But I always think it's hilarious that it's like usually like smaller guys, and I'm not even trying to sit there and be like critical height, but like smaller guys or shorter guys, they'll be the first ones to be like, that's bullshit, he should get that foul. I'm like, y'all do the same fucking thing when you playing a dude who's bigger than you, and then get mad when the dude be like, yo, why you fouling? He's like, what am I supposed to do? You too damn big. So I just want to throw that out there that this is a thing that happens on every level in any style of playing basketball.
Everybody should be officiated the same, right?
But that's never gonna happen.
That's never gonna happen. I understand that, but that's how it should be, right?
I disagree. Because if you sit there and here's why I disagree. Okay. Because there is something to being the star. There is something to being getting the benefit of the doubt because you've been there 1,000 times. This is why there's rookie calls. This is why there's star calls. And I have no issue with being more a little old school about it, and it's earn your stripes before you start getting certain calls. So I don't think everyone should be officiated the same way. Now, I think someone who was criticized about 7-8 years ago when Ginobili was sitting there and he was Harden before and he was flopping, jumping up and down. I mean, that's my man get like someone blew like by him.
I'm not a fan of that.
He flew all over the place. But you know what though? You gotta give him some props though. He took the system that was created and he made his way to the top with it. Because otherwise, Ginobili is not getting near as far as he did in the league if he was not Mr. Flamboyant, throwing his body all around looking like he was doing some bull jive ass dance from the 90s.
I feel it.
I don't know what they do in Europe, but that was some bull jive ass dance. So you have this thing, and with the refs, you know the average like ref size is in the NBA.
I couldn't tell you because I've never looked at that.
It's real interesting to look up. It's about 5'10", right? It's about 5'10", 5'11". So they're running up and down, and a lot of times I think basketball's a fantastic sport because almost everybody that's interested in basketball has played basketball at some point. Whether you played on a high school level, a collegiate level, pro, whatever, playing in the park, you've played basketball. You picked the basketball, you shot, you missed like the rest of us. So a lot of these refs, kind of the way they officiate is a lot like that small guy in the park who's just like, well, what do you want me to do? What am I supposed to do with these guys? Like, if Shaq's got the ball in the post, how do you play defense on him? If I can't sit there and be a little more physical and rough up with him, and big guys only, and then it's partnership on both sides, because big guys, when they're playing against another big guy, they want that same treatment. They want to be allowed to play physical. When Duncan and Shaq went at it, they were allowed to be physical, and they hated when fouls got called.
That's okay. To hit on that, I agree with that. I think if it's like a Boogie going up against another big guy in the league, Whiteside.
Okay.
I think they should be able to be more physical, like you said.
Yes, and so there you go.
Yeah.
But that's the problem with this whole thing.
Yeah.
Is everybody wants it both ways when that's impossible.
I understand it's impossible. It's my dream world, which I want.
100%. No, in the dream world, the hardest thing to do, and this is with, about to get kind of controversial, whether it is sports, spiritually, politically, personally, the hardest thing to do is run anything on a case-by-case basis. You know why? Because there's 7 billion of us.
Yeah.
You can sit there and I can highlight this guy's messed up and this guy does this, and I can say like this should have been treated differently. And then people sit there and say it's like, oh, well in court it happened this way when it should have been this way. Court itself has to go by a set of systems and a set of predetermined laws, because otherwise you can't run everyone on a case-by-case basis. It is impossible. Like, it just does not happen. I'm not going to mention where it is, but it's like where we work, the situations we have come during the day, it's not just you like to sit there and be case-by-case basis, but there's a lot of things you have to approach with generic approach. Mm-hmm. This A happened, B is my reaction, and then C is the result. Now, you can change up along the way, which is why games get officiated differently. This is why one game they're complaining about not getting calls, and there's other games. Anthony Davis is also one of only 3 players that's taken 20 free throws in the game this year. He didn't complain when he got the 20 free throws. So if you're not going to complain when you get the 20 free throws, and you're not going to complain when you're going up against the big guy banging in the paint, I don't think you should be allowed to complain. And to Davis' credit, he's not a complainer. He is very much Tim Duncan-like, and he just does not talk. And so I also respect a Gentry, and it's like you take Stan Van Gundy because he's got Blake and he's got Andre Drummond. They go through the same thing. Now Blake complains a little more. I can't really speak on Drummond. I haven't heard him necessarily be vocal.
I haven't heard him before.
I'm not even sure if I know what he sounds like actually. Well, Andre Drummond, what you sound like? But you cannot have. Everybody wants this so-called perfect system, and it just does not exist unless you have. Not even games. I don't even know what kind of risk you have to have. It'd be a combination of game specific and team specific. Yeah. And they can only do it for certain game stretches. Otherwise, you'd have biases involved. And you'd be like, well, this guy's officiated him for 80 games, and then he's gonna officiate this way for 80 games. Like, you can't have. It's a hypocrisy on both sides. If you want to play physical in the paint with the other big guy, then you got to deal with the fact that small guys are gonna whack you too. If you don't want the small guys to whack you, you can't play physical with the big guys in the paint.
Just a question. I don't know if this I don't know if I necessarily agree with it. I just want to see you. Do you think that fouls should be overturned if they get the refs get together, even if it's just like 20 seconds, talk it over real quick?
No, because my issue with that is I don't want the game being so prolonged because of a foul. The only exception I would make is I think 6 fouls should be allowed to be overturned. If it is something that is egregious and it's the 6th foul and it's going to get a guy to foul out of the game, I'm okay with going in for that situation, but I think if you allow that in the game, you're treading on some real scary waters, because anything in life, once you start it, people try to progress it, and people try to push, not progress isn't the right word, but people will try to push it as hard as they can until we hit a stopping point.
Okay.
So do I think, yes, that 6 foul should be overturned? Yeah, but I don't want to start it because I don't want to go into foul 1, 2, 3, 4. Like, I don't want to see the last Like, I don't want, like, even with replays, and the NBA has done a terrible job with replays.
It's pretty bad. They take so long.
Yeah, I've had 30 seconds of the game, and you're like, in the moment, you're excited. It's like a 2-3 point game, and you're like, well, 5 minutes later, shit, I could have made some popcorn, gotten some chicken, and like made dinner already. And like, we went from 30 seconds to 27 seconds. All they did was walk down to the other end of the court. So I think it's a dangerous game, and like I said, it's just hypocrisy with the foul. So I don't think there is, for everybody that's complaining, and I like Davis, and I like Gentry. Yeah, no, you're never gonna have a perfect world.
You're just gonna get teed up no matter what you say in this NBA now.
And I get it. When those coaches make the rant, they absolutely go into it knowing it's like, hey, count my 15K, put it to the side real quick, go dump whatever charity they're gonna give it to, just I'll direct deposit it myself where you want it.
Yeah, you can't say that's not a foul anymore without
Mm-hmm.
free throw.
Alright, moving on. Number 5. What do you think of Alvin Gentry's comments of him saying that they're a great team with a great player? Gentry said of the Rockets, to me, Harden's the MVP of the league. He's done everything to earn that. His team's got the best record. He's the closer. He comes up with big shots when he needs to. What is your takes on this statement and how it affects Anthony Davis?
I'll start this one off because this one pissed me off. How the fuck you saying that when this man's Anthony Davis's head coach is trying his best to even be in the MVP considerations right now? As a coach, you're supposed to be a leader for that team. You're supposed to be that number one guy that's leading that team. Gentry right now just lost a shit ton of respect from me. I was starting to like him because at the beginning of the year I was like, we should can this motherfucker because I didn't really like him what he's been doing with the team. But recently I've been liking what he's doing, but my respect level just absolutely dropped after this. Because my respect level, if I was Anthony Davis, would be like, you don't even fucking think I'm the MVP anymore? I'm doing the same shit. But I understand. I already said that Anthony Davis has to do a shit ton for him to win MVP. Harden's pretty much got another lock in, though. But just when you're in the man's coach, how the fuck you saying that about your own, not even saying your own player should be the MVP? How the hell are you doing that? Like, I understand this was maybe a PR stunt just to get his name out there, But how... That's just, I don't know, just absolutely pisses me off. Like, if I was AD, I'd be like, bro, how are you going to do that to me? Because it feels like Alvin Gentry doesn't have confidence in him. Because, well, just in his little statement, he said, Harden hits the clutch shots. Where the fuck was he Game 6 last year? Game 5 last year? Nowhere to be seen. And then you have Anthony Davis during their 10-game stretch. I think Anthony Davis hit 4 or 5 go-ahead shots that sealed the game for us. I think against the Hornets, where we almost fucking lost, Anthony Davis was like, nah, scored 6 straight points, and then hit 2 free throws to seal the game. It's just, I don't like his statement. I think it was absolutely atrocious with his timing and everything. If he would have said that at the end of the season, fine, whatever. If we're already out of the playoffs, that's fine. But when you're saying that mid-season when the man's trying to even get in the second, like, MVP in, like, race as the second seed, like, I don't know how to say it, the second of the...
MVP race?
Yeah, second MVP race. And you just said that, I would just lose all confidence in my coach if I was Anthony. But I
don't think Davis cares. I don't think that there's a lot to be. I don't think it's an issue between either coach or player. I think it was just standard talk. Everyone kind of addresses, Greg Popovich called Kobe the MVP multiple times. I don't think Tim Duncan ever walked around butthurt. I don't think when Popovich called, when he called LeBron the best player in the world, and it was great. He called LeBron the best player in the world, and they beat him in the finals that year. I don't think
like Belichick.
I don't think it's mind games. I think it is almost when you talk to the media that much, like it is something that is like it's absurd. Like you are literally forced to talk to these people who are doing nothing but questioning you, critiquing you, analyzing you. They put microphones up in your face and they expect 15 to 20 questions daily, and if you have a game that day, you're probably more closer to 40, 50 questions. At some point, you just kind of, and nobody likes the, cliche answers, but it's like, at some point, you got to kind of throw them out there. And I don't necessarily like what someone like Belichick does, where he's just so cliche, he's one word, cut it off. It's just good, praying for next week. Yep, they played. Yep, we won. Like, I don't necessarily like that, but I get it. Why would you want to sit there and it's every single day? 20 questions, 30 questions, 40 questions. Like, what do you think about James Harden? It's like, well, yeah, what are you gonna say about him? He's a great player. Should probably be the MVP. You know, he's on the best team in the West. Like, and he even sat there and mentions like it wasn't just saying that Harden was great. He also he talked about he's like Chris Paul is a great player too. They got two great players. They got a great team. Best right in the West. Nothing he said was wrong.
No, it's not. But it's just I don't like when other coaches do that when their player is another superstar at that level.
That's fine. I don't think hell, like I said, Steve Kerr called LeBron the best player in the world. And you know what he did?
I had a
He beat
problem
him in the
with that.
finals. I said I think it only matters if you have a certain style of player. I think, there's a reason why Phil Jackson never made that comment unless it was about his guy. Because he had two of the most competitive SOBs ever to be his best player. Whereas, like I said, Popovich has done it
Shaq.
multiple times. And
Continue.
anyway, we're in with Greg Popovich. He knew what Tim Duncan was. Tim Duncan was the most low-key NBA superstar probably of all time. Like, I don't even know what Tim Duncan did in the offseason. I learned after he retired, they released a documentary, and he liked to go swimming, which I think would be a sight to see, because I'm curious what the fuck a 7-foot guy looks like just swimming in a pool. Like, that was his thing. He liked to swim, and that's cool. Do your thing. You get someone like Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson's your best player. Klay Thompson is a sit back, kick back, have a beer, not a big social person.
With the superstars though.
That's what I'm saying. But it's only certain superstars.
Yeah.
I don't think Steph cares. I think Durant does. I don't think you can do anything for Durant. I don't think Durant's that competitive. I think he's just petty. Because I don't get why you're subtweeting yourself when you're a multi-millionaire on a Saturday night. Yeah. So you have to judge it not just on how many questions you have to answer a day, who is your player. Like I said, I don't think Anthony Davis cares. Because Anthony Davis isn't even this big, for what it looks like at least, he's not a big nightlife person. And he might, put it this way, he is considerably mellow, considering he plays in New Orleans, which might be the most lit sports place of all time. It's the only place that you can really turn up Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. What's the song? Like, going up on a Tuesday. That's real in New Orleans.
Oh my God.
Like, that is real. And for him to not be... Could you imagine Johnny Manziel in New Orleans?
Oh, he'd be gone.
Could you imagine J.R. Smith in New Orleans? Oh, J.R. Smith was in New Orleans. They got his ass out in 2 years.
Yeah,
because it was all bad. So, he is not... Like I said, I don't think you can do this if Chris Paul's your best player. Because Chris Paul is one of the most competitive players we have in the league. How many questions you're asked? Who is your superstar? Is what you're saying that outrageous? It'd be different if he was like, Giannis is the MVP frontrunner right now ahead of Davis, or he's like Damian Lillard should be ahead of Davis. No, because everybody's kind of come to the conclusion it's Harden's award to win. Davis is at least making it close, and then you got other guys like a Lillard, DeRozan, Giannis who are they give them like the cliche MVP caliber seasons, and it's like they're having great seasons, they're being great players. Even though I'm starting to lose a little bit on Giannis, but that's another story another day. It's just I didn't think it was a big deal.
I think Davis does care, low key though, because I think he cares to a point, but he's never gonna come out and say it. Just going back, he's not a complainer. I think stuff does bug him, but other than that, I just don't think he's ever gonna express that until he's done in the league or something like that. But I don't think he's ever gonna be that guy that's gonna come out and because LeBron would come out at a coach, low key though.
Yeah, LeBron's cryptic as hell.
Yeah.
So here'd be my other thing too to end this is the reason why I think if Anthony Davis were to care, what the big difference is though is it's like if you're competing for MVP, right? And there's a reason why guys like Kobe and Shaq are mad Steve Nash has 2 MVPs. You know why they're mad? Because they know, regardless of those 2 MVPs, they're far better players than Steve Nash is. It's just a fact. Anthony Davis knows he's a better player than James Harden. James Harden is having a better year. Give him his credit.
Yeah.
He's got numbers that are through the and I think
historical numbers. He does it 31, 32 a game.
And then 11 assists. So it's like he's leading the league in points and assists.
Not an assist. Westbrook's leading in assists.
Okay, I'm sorry. So he's first and then second in assists. But I think he's really close to Westbrook too. But that's another point. It's even with that being said, Davis knows at this point it's like the only guys who are in my class is it's like Durant, I'd say Curry, and LeBron. Those are the only guys. Like if he had, like I said, if he had said LeBron was it's like okay, LeBron was LeBron was the MVP runner ahead of him, it'd be different. But I don't like you said he knows he's a better player than James Harden.
Oh yeah, I'll give you that. I mean, it's more or less because Kobe's a better player than Steve Nash, but Steve Nash deserved it that year. But we won't, that's something for something else. Let's get on to the next question.
All right, moving on. Number 6.
I'm not done.
Number 6.
I got something in this lemonade, John.
Do you guys believe that the Raptors have a chance to make it out of the East, or do you think another team can beat them out?
So I'm really anti-Raptor, and I'm really anti-Raptor.
Raptors going all the way, they're going to win.
Because of DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry or some, what do you call them? No, it's not. They're not chokers. They are some two-faced, whiny bitches. And why I say that, and I mean full disrespect, and I would look in the camera and say, two-faced, whiny bitches.
You heard it. You heard it.
DeMar DeRozan, I've never heard this before from a professional athlete. They lost to the Cavaliers last year. And his first statement coming out of that series was, we would have won if we had LeBron on our team.
No shit.
Timeout, pause. Hold up. This is what little kids do when you're playing a pickup game in elementary school or middle school and you're like, well, yeah, but you just had Tim and Tim's just bigger than everybody else. You guys won. That's what we're doing to DeMar DeRozan. We're going to be a grown-ass man, an all-star in this league, and he won't be like, they just had LeBron. If we got to pick LeBron, we'd have been good too.
If we had LeBron, we'd be able to do it. No shit.
So I lost all. And DeMar DeRozan's a great player. I have no faith in that man whatsoever. I have a very demeaning opinion of him. I've also got a very demeaning opinion of, their other best player, Kyle Lowry. Because Kyle Lowry wanted to sign with the Spurs this offseason and spent the first month of this year talking about how great the Spurs were and how he wished he was a part of that team. So you just don't talk about the other team. Once again, this is the elementary middle school. It's like when you realize the other team's winning and they're up by 6 or 8 points, like I want to be on their team. Really? So I have no faith in the Raptors. I have no faith in anybody in the Eastern Conference. This is why I don't think the Cavs will make it back to the finals, but I couldn't even tell you who I think is going to beat them. Because I have this much faith in everybody else. The second best player in the East is Giannis, or supposed to be, and he might not even make the playoffs. So there is something so wrong with the East. It is so bad. It is so terrible. It is so like LeBron almost comes out of it just by being. For context, LeBron's the 7th seed in the West right now, and he's fighting for his playoff life. And there's a chance he might not even be that high because I don't even think he's better than the 7 or 8 seeds are currently. Because it's right now the Timberwolves are the 8 seed right now, and the Spurs are the 7. And I
Pelicans are 7.
They got pushed up to 6 because they won.
Oh, did they? Oh.
They were 6 because they flip flopped. No, don't wrong. Literally being 3 through 8 is pointless. 3 through 8. The Blazers I think just finally got space. I think they're up 4 games now. On 8th place. So, when you have 4 games dividing 6 teams, all you need is a 3-game win streak and you go from 8 to 2. So, or 8 to 3, I'm sorry. The Rockets and Warriors have clearly shown they're separated from everybody.
Nobody's catching them.
Yeah. But 3 through 8 is just this whole jumbled mess. And I don't think LeBron wins out in that jumbled mess.
No.
And but like I said, he might just win out in the East because I don't know who to trust in the East. I don't have faith in anybody. I thought I had faith in Washington, and they broke my heart too.
Okay. I'm just going to hit on all these scenarios. But I'm just going to state here first. I projected the Celtics and the Rockets in the finals. I have no faith in the Celtics anymore.
It's just injury, bro.
Injury, Kyrie, who knows? The guy has to get surgery on his knee in the offseason. Then you have Marcus Smart out. Jaylen Brown's probably not going to come out back till playoffs probably.
Yo, prayers to Jaylen Brown. That was nasty.
Oh, shit. That looked bad.
The Celtics had some badass injuries this year.
And then, I don't have faith in the Raptors. At this point, I just think LeBron's going to be there and they're just going to get killed by whoever they play in the finals. But at this point, unless the only teams that I could see, the Raptors, the only way they make it if the Cavs lose in the second round, they play the Celtics. It's the only way I could see the Raptors even coming close to beating anybody out. That's the only scenario if they don't have to play LeBron.
To actually touch on that point. If we're we'll default LeBron as the best team in the East, right? Not the Cavs.
Yeah.
We'll default LeBron.
Team LeBron.
Team LeBron's the best player.
He's the coach of that team too.
Best team in the East, best coach in the East. Second best coach in the East. Brad Stevens is in the East. Who, if you don't have faith in the Raptors, who is your second best team in the Eastern Conference?
Barring injuries or with injuries or not injuries?
We'll say everyone's healthy.
Yeah. Everyone's healthy. I have the Celtics.
You think the Celtics are the second best team?
Because I'm a fan of Gordon Hayward and Irving, and I like Stevens.
Okay, exclude Gordon Hayward because Gordon Hayward has just been gone all season.
I like him. They have a good young core, and I like Brad Stevens. He's a good coach. They have the best defensive rating in the league, the best defensive efficiency as well. I mean, because we look at LeBron's team, they're one of the worst teams on defense, and I think you need to have defense coming in playoffs. I mean, I get LeBron and his team are a fuck ton better team in the playoffs, but I think it also boils down to coaching in the playoffs because you have the D'Antonis, the Popoviches, the Kerrs of the world, and then you have Brad Stevens, who's going to be he's a defensive genius. That's why I give the edge to the Celtics, especially next year if Gordon Hayward comes back healthy. I don't see them not making the finals. That was my whole argument this year. Same with the Rockets. I wanted somebody new in the West, and it's looking like they could possibly do it if the Warriors are going to be hurt, especially Draymond getting the nut shot last night. Payback. There you go, my homie Steven Adams. But I think those payback.
I don't even think can't really mess with the Warriors. But yeah, no, I would say the second best team in the East is irrelevant. I don't think any of them can actually beat LeBron in a 7-game series. I don't think any of them are, especially because given their current state, I think even healthy, there's a couple teams that's like, I think the best series would maybe be Boston takes them to like 5-6 games.
The Sixers would be a good one this year in the first and second
round.
round.
I don't think the Sixers. People have like this perception of the Sixers that is so much better than what they actually are. If you actually sit back and just objectively look at the Sixers, they look really nice because you have Ben Simmons and you have Joel Embiid, and like they've already have like star status as far as attached to their names. They are not a good team yet. They are not.
Eventually, they will be one of the.
Eventually, that's theoretically. Eventually, they might be. They are not now. They won't be this year. They're not a real matchup for the Cavs in the playoffs. They'll give you one game that looks really cool. That's years ago. Cleveland winning 1-2 at home. Game 3 being exciting. Philly maybe steals that game. Cleveland winning game 4 and closing out in 5. And realistically, that's all I can see any of these series going. Toronto would be a similar thing. I think Toronto, if anything, Toronto would be my only exception. Maybe they still game 1 because they have it at home. And then LeBron would win the next one.
They have the best home record in the NBA. Best home team. The Raptors. That's
because Drake
and they got 6 guys.
Drake's up there. Drake's up there, and he'd be like, he'd be slipping guys. He'd be like, yo, you let him win this game, get you some free tickets.
Got you some Sanders.
Yeah, like,
for your whole family.
Yeah, like, he's like, hey. Drake be walking up to team, guys playing Raptors be like, yo, bro, they going to that God's plan.
There's honestly like nothing, bro. Like, I'm starting to hop off that bandwagon this year because of all the injuries. That's why I think,
Yeah, no, the East is a joke right now.
It's like, the fuck is this going on? Like, Giannis might not be in the fucking playoffs. Who knows? I don't want to see it.
The Raptors are in the finals. In Canada.
That'd be if the Raptors make the finals, Drake is dropping his album game 1. Like, whatever album he said he was doing for the city, he is dropping it game 1 if the Raptors make the finals. He's
probably going to do some fucking festivals up there.
That's a fact. Yeah. That's a fact. He will be the halftime show every single game.
Yeah.
He gonna be up there every single game like, hey, this is my show. I'll run this. Let me get it.
The one thing that I could add, though, is I was having a conversation with JP. I don't know if you're still watching last night. And the Heat look like a scary good team when they got Dwayne Wade back. They need that leadership, bro. We were having a conversation about that. They even said whenever he was traded, oh, this man is walking out. This man's walking out.
That was just said to me. That was just said.
This guy literally just walked out. He's walking up to his room right now. Anyways, I'll make my point.
Oh, you still talking?
I'm gonna still talk because he's not fucking here. I can just say what I want. Dwayne Wade brings that leadership to the table.
Look at that camera over there.
I am looking at that.
Oh, okay.
The fuck, bro?
This dude.
But I mean, he just brings that leadership, and I think they play at a more elevated level than they did before without him. That's why, like, you saw players like Whiteside and Winslow being like, "Dang, dude, we're gonna miss that leadership." That says something that stats can't value, is what my boy Jip said, and I completely agree with that. But I'm gonna leave it back to my boy Joy right here. Just that was my closing statement on it. He can just say what he wants. Yeah, you got your pass for you, bro.
Thank you everybody for watching. It was a
Later.
successful,
Thank y'all for watching, guys.
successful show.
I swear to God, if it didn't
I
record
gotta
them.
take a piss, dude.